The following podcast contains spoilers and words like piss, shit, and f***. We watch TV. We watch TV. Hello, all you folks out there in podcast land. It's your boys B Dizzle and David Powell. How you doing, mate?
I am good. How are you?
I'm great. You know why? Because we're back. We're back in the Screamverse, baby. I fucking love this franchise. I don't think you and I have ever spoken about Scream before. I just assume that you're a fan.
I might fucking hate these movies. You have no idea. I might be ready to come out of the gate and go, fuck these. Fuck the Ghost of Wes Craven. These movies suck. You don't know.
I hope that's not where we're heading.
So this could be the last episode of this podcast. We may have a falling out.
Sure. Now I'm curious. So let's get straight on into it.
Now let's talk about 65 and leave you.
Oh, geez. No, I'm leaving that till the end because I don't think that's going to be a very long conversation or something that many people want to hear, quite frankly. So
most people don't even know the fucking movie's out.
Exactly. So let's get into Scream 6, a 2023 American slasher film directed by Matt Bettinelli-Olpin and Tyler Gillett, written by James Vanderbilt and Guy Busick. It, of course, is the sixth installment in the Scream franchise. It stars Melissa Barrera, Jasmin Savoy Brown, Mason Gooding, Jenna Ortega, Hayden Panettiere, and Courteney Cox, all reprising their roles from previous installments alongside Jack Champion, Henry Czerny, Liana Liberato, Dermot Mulroney, Devyn Nekoda, Tony Revolori, Josh Segarra, and I won't say that last name just for funsies. And what is it about, Dave?
It is we return to our sisters Sam and Tara Carpenter from the previous film Scream in parentheses 5, who have upped sticks with their friends from Woodsboro and moved to New York to try and get a fresh start in college. And we proceed to requel Scream 2 and once more Ghostface in parentheses cause havoc and ruin their otherwise peaceful college shenanigans.
Absolutely. I was, as I said, I'm a massive fan of this franchise. There's not a single film in this series that I don't like. Even Scream 3, which is quite clearly the worst.
That's just fucking
although,
insanity.
Don't say that to M. Higgins because that's her favourite one. I have no idea why M.
Which is her favourite?
Scream 3. M. Higgins from Tasteless. She fucking loves it.
I have nothing but the highest respect for you. I think you're just a delight on the mic, but that you need help.
It's a batshit opinion.
That's a terrible, terrible opinion.
But even that film, I still
movie
like.
Is fucking trash.
It's
terrible.
I was hesitant coming into this one with The Lack of Neve because quite famously, she was originally written into this script. They didn't offer her enough money, and good on her. She said, "Well, fuck yous." And at the time, I thought that was a boss bitch move, and it got me scared because I was like, well, can this franchise even work without Nev? But I got to tell you, I think it can.
I actually think it needed to. And look, I don't hate it. I like this franchise. I love the first film. I think it's the best thing that Wes Craven did in his illustrious career. It's a genius film.
Yeah.
And I really liked the previous film to this, the fifth film.
Same,
I think it was the best. I think it was the best film in the franchise since the first one.
Yep.
And I think it needed to move on. I think there's a increasing amount of suspension of disbelief that's needed in this franchise to believe that this shit just keeps on fucking happening to the same people over and over again.
Yep.
And in fact, that you just keep getting people who are pissed off about some thing that the Woodsboro kids have done and are pissed off about
persona. Yeah.
The reason that the previous killer got stopped, and so therefore they take up the mantle, and it's always people who, well, not always, but usually people who previously have had no sort of murderous inclinations, who were just triggered by some shit and go, well, I'm going to become a psychopathic serial killer and put on the same mask.
Yeah.
You need to kind of buy into that kind of roller coaster ride. but to also believe that it's all centered around this one random woman now.
Yeah. Yeah.
Just because she happened to be the target of the first killer.
Yeah.
When none of the subsequent killings have really been about her.
Yeah.
They've been about something sort of sequential to the previous film. So to have her continue to be the central figure, much as I love Neve Campbell, doesn't really make sense.
Yeah, totally fair. And I think this movie proved that 100%. And I think they've been, I was going to say lucky, but it's definitely more than luck. It's a good piece of casting and a good piece of writing. I think they've managed to give us a good cast of characters here that we care about just as much as we did that original group. And I think that is a huge part of the reason this film and the previous one are as successful as they are, because I like these new group of teens. I think they're good. You know, I really liked Scream 4 as well, but the little gap we had between 4 and 5, I think this new group are... Yeah, I'm here for it. And they've already greenlit Screen 7, so I'll be... at the front of the cinema for that as well. Yeah.
And I think I really like the way they're not rebooting, because we had Neve in the last one.
Yep.
But they are kind of taking the journey that Craven took. So the last film, I mean, fuck it, spoilers. I mean, we always talk spoilers, but in the case of Scream, if you haven't seen Scream 6, fuck off right now.
Yeah.
Go see it and then come back and listen. Because
I think already we're 7
normally
minutes into
spoilers
the
don't bother me, but
it's clear that we both liked it.
This is a film that one of the few times I would say spoilers matter. Yes. Normally, I don't give a shit about spoilers. You really don't want to be spoiled on a Scream film. So if you haven't seen it, go see it, then come back. So, the last one, Scream, aka Scream 5, kind of mirrored the first Scream in a way, in that you're looking at the boyfriend.
Yeah.
Ultimately, when the killer's revealed. And that's kind of the big, punch to the guts. Oh my God, it's this person I had this amount of trust in. Now we're in college, kind of like Scream 2. There's sort of this almost referential through line that we're following.
Yeah.
But everything else is different. So it's still, fuck you if you can predict the end of this.
Yeah.
Other than through process of elimination. Yeah. And there are a couple of, I think, missteps in the production of this that kind of gave things away a little bit, which I'll get to later. But I think overall they're doing a really good job, and quite frankly, a better job than anyone who's been involved in this franchise since the very first film.
Yeah.
I'm not the big lover of Scream 2 that a lot of people seem to be. There's a couple of things in that ruin the entire film for me, even though I like the cast and a lot of the things about it.
Yeah.
But, and 3 obviously was garbage.
My favourite thing about this franchise is the way that I think it very cleverly continues to play with the tropes of not only horror as a whole, but now the conventions that Scream itself has created.
It's playing with its own conventions.
Exactly. Yeah. Like the first film...
A tribute to how influential it's been.
100%. Like the first film itself was already very meta. But it played with what your expectations were. For example, that the first time you watch that film, when you discover at the end that there are 2 ghost faces, and it is such a clever fucking move. Like, for starters, just the surprise factor. For second...
Because, all the characters that you'd ruled out because you knew they wouldn't be there.
Yeah, exactly right.
Boom!
That's the thing. And it eliminates all of that, the back of your mind where you're like, but that's not... How could one person be in all these places at once? It eliminates any issues that you could have possibly had with the suspension of disbelief. And it's so clever. And then they've continued to kind of play with those ideas and those tropes since. Like, I think the reveal in this one, where it turns out there are 3, it surprised me.
Yeah.
It surprised me.
I think this I think, is the most successful at reinventing its own tropes of any film since that first 100%. One. Because as you say, the first one, the 2 killers, was a massive out of left field. No one expected it. And the problem then is that every subsequent film,
people expect it.
the majority of viewers are sitting there going, well, it could be, they're giving you an alibi, but obviously it could, there's another killer, so it could be someone else.
Where I think that Scream 3 works in its own weird way, where you've only got one in that film.
But it's got to a point where they've almost become their own worst enemy as writers, because every viewer is sitting there going, I know how these films work now.
Yeah.
If there's a new actor in the cast, chances are they're going to be the killer. And it's kind of proven true.
Yeah.
You know that none of the core cast, they throw up, maybe Gail Weathers has snapped and gone a bit crazy and now she's, that's not the fucking case. Don't even waste your time with that red herring because no one's buying it.
Yeah.
And they've kind of, up until probably last film, 2, 3, and 4 have kind of increasingly fallen into the trap of not knowing how to be as good as that first one, because the first one was so good and it set up this model and the writers haven't been good enough to reinvent it. And I think the opening of this film is fucking fantastic.
I was just going to get to the opening. I think that this is the best opening to a Scream film, dare I say, ever. I love Scream. This is better than...
You can't get past the genius of having your highest billed actor killed off in the opening cold open.
Yeah, no, but this...
That is all time. I think this is the best since then.
This is the closest they've ever come to... Because, like I say, it's a trope they've created now. Every film since, the opening of a Scream film has typically started that way. And they've played with it a little bit. I thought the meta-ness of Scream 4 was interesting in a way. It was a little bit too bordering on parody for me. The way that it, kept revealing that it was...
Which was Omar Epps and fucking Mrs. Slap? Was that 2?
That was 2, yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, seeing Jada Pinkett Smith killed is just chef's kiss. Yeah. But that was very, very clever, the meta-ness of it.
Yeah.
But the idea of having... The standard name actress, you've got Samara Weaving there looking
absolutely beautiful and talking with her true Australian accent.
I know. And I think even ramping it up, I reckon she was 100%. Really fucking dial up the ocker.
Yeah. But
it's all right. Yeah, fuck yeah, whatever.
I know this is going to make me sound super bogan, but something about it worked for me.
Oh, yeah. Oh, fuck, if she'd had that in Ready or Not, that would have been best picture material. But you've got that, and you're kind of, okay, I'm in Scream territory. Name actor, I know you're going to die, honey, but you look beautiful doing it. You're in the same colour thing that Drew was wearing in the first one. We've got this wonderful callback. It's wonderful. And we're well into spoilers now, Ghostface takes off his fucking mask. What the fuck?
I know. It was fucking amazing.
But then he gets killed by another fucking Ghostface.
Yep. And it was glorious.
It was the first time since the first Scream that I have gone, I have no idea what the fuck is going on.
I gasped in the cinema. And then I cheered in the cinema. I did. Oh, man. It was honestly like... So far, there's no competition. This has been my favourite cinema experience this year. Like, don't get me wrong, this isn't going to make my top 10 of the year list or anything at this point, but it was the most fun I've had in a cinema. Just my love for this franchise, and that opening sequence was so well executed.
Oh, absolutely fantastic. And and the casting, seeing bloody Flash Thompson get gutted.
Yeah. Let me ask you this then, because at the end of the day, this is a horror film. Were you scared at all in this movie?
No, of course not.
No.
I've not been scared in any Scream film. Like, anyone who's a horror movie goer, this is not scary stuff. This franchise is not scary stuff. This is horror light.
But we are progressively getting more and more gear. More gore.
We're certainly, this film and the last one are much more kind of modern slasher.
Yeah,
whereas
definitely.
Wes was not in his Hills Have Eyes. He was not aiming for that. He was aiming for clever, meta, doing something new.
Yeah.
He wasn't trying to really
don't get
be
me wrong.
confronting.
Those early films still had some really, really fun kills. You think about, is it
Fun
it's
kills,
it's Rose?
very little blood.
It's Rose McGowan, isn't it, who gets caught in the garage door?
Yeah,
Yeah.
which is stupid. I mean, if anyone who owns a garage door knows that they don't just crush you, they would stop. But
it was still
They don't
fucking
even
cool.
dent your car when they come down.
But I actually really loved this iteration of Ghostface.
I think this is. I mean, I don't think this is the most violent, and bloody of all the franchise.
Also,
so
the
far.
most threatening Ghostface. I think, like that fucking scene in the little grocery store where he grabs that shotgun. That was just fun. And even little things like when he's chasing them out the window and he's shaking that ladder violently to make her fall off. And it's like, this is not the Ghostface that we know. This is not the Ghostface who's having fun and playing a game, albeit a murderer. This is someone who is just being vicious.
And they've done away with what increasingly was one of my issues with the franchise, is that it became more and more unbelievable that Ghostface wasn't just getting the shit kicked out of him.
Yeah.
Once you know that it's not a big burly bloke under the mask, sometimes it's a middle-aged woman.
Yeah, yeah.
The idea that you know this, middle-aged woman is getting cracked over the head with vases and smashed in the face and all the rest of it, and is still overpowered. It became increasingly silly, and that's why I started to, in 3, I mean, 4 was a good film, but I started to increasingly go, this franchise is kind of on its last legs.
And look,
and 5 kind of revitalized it a bit, and this one really brought it home because, 1, you didn't have Ghostface getting like beamed in the noggin with a solid pottery vase and keeping on coming. It was a lot more believable in the way they structured the set pieces.
I still think that is an issue by the reveal. Like I really like this iteration of Ghostface.
Oh, I have problems with this film.
And I think that the motivation behind this Ghostface-y, pluralizing, is good. I like it. I think it's believable. I think, you brought up early on that some of the other Ghostfaces were seemingly normal people with no murderous tendencies. By the time you get to the reveal in this film, I don't feel that is the case. I think that this tracks because I think that he is a bad dad. I think he's quite clearly a bad dad who I think raised his children very poorly and possibly violently. To me, that tracks. I do have an issue with, and then you have to start to think a little bit about which one of them is Ghostface at which point.
That an entire family are just going to buy into becoming serial killers?
Yep,
because
I think it is. Yeah,
one of the kids.
Yeah, 100% I do.
Wow.
Because why was Jack Quaid that way to begin with? I think it all stems from Dermot Mulroney. Is that he has such a stupid name?
Yeah.
So I actually found that quite believable. My question comes into, for example, take for example the Gail Weathers apartment scene, which again is a great set piece, but
one of the high points.
She puts up a big fight with that Ghostface, and that Ghostface takes down her giant boyfriend as well. And then you got to think about, well, which one is it? Because it's not Dermot Mulroney, because we know where he is at the point, don't we? Like, he's stuck back at the thing, and
anyone who puts that cloak and mask on is automatically fucking
So it's either his daughter or his weedy little son, neither of which I don't think are going to be able to take down Gail's beefcake.
And you've got to kind of, and that's the essential.
You need suspension of disbelief.
You need conceit that you need to buy on
100%.
That the element of surprise that Ghostface brings means they can overpower anyone with because that boyfriend was a fucking unit,
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Yeah.
But on the plus side, I think they gave Gail, and I mean, Courtney I didn't think was particularly good in this. I think she looks terrible, and I think she didn't act particularly well in this.
I was shocked by Hayden Panettiere's face as well.
I'll get to her, trust me. But I think they gave Gail an awesome final big action set piece because she wasn't stupid. She did some of the stuff that normally in these films the audience is going, "Why don't you do this?" i.e. fucking phone them back and hear the bloody dial tone and you know,
that was great.
and then plug through the door. All of these things that you normally would, and my perennial peeve with this franchise more than anything else is these idiot fucking characters who knock out Ghostface and then fucking run away. They don't take the mask off. They don't hit them with a bunch of sticks. They don't tie their hands together. They fuck off. And it's the main reason that Scream 2 bothers me so much, apart from the fact that Gabrielle Union is annoying as shit. But they have a car accident. Ghostface is unconscious, pinned in a car. Nev Campbell goes to take the mask off and then goes, "No, let's run away." What the fuck? You've literally got the killer pinned in a car, unconscious. Take the mask off, stab him in the head, tie their hands up, call the police. No, Gabrielle Union, let's fuck off and run away. No. They did away with that. I mean, I think there's one moment in this film where it almost happens, but Ghostface stirs and starts to move again, and you go, okay, it's almost like you knew I was going to yell at the screen, and you decided, no, it's still dangerous. So, I mean, that's one of the reasons I love this film so much is that they did away with that one annoying thing, which has been such a feature all the way through, apart from the first film.
100%. I loved the score for this film as well, and the soundtrack, those throwbacks. Like, it's Chris Isaac, isn't it? Fucking great.
They brought in Red Right Hand, the Nick Cave song that was in number 2.
Nick Cave, that's what I was thinking.
Also, and I don't know if you noticed, the identical camera movement as well, panning out from the college campus and up into the sky while it played. And there were a couple of other little nods. They had the Gale Weathers and Dewey love theme or whatever. I don't know what it's called, but they brought that back. The dun dun dun. Oh,
no, I loved it.
It's really, really good.
Like, I rewatched all these movies less than a year ago, and it's already made me want to go rewatch them again tonight. I fucking love this.
You couldn't bring me to watch 2 or 3 again, but I could do one. I mean, one I've seen about.
You know what?
Times.
Later this year, Screamtober. We're doing Screamtober or Screamtember or something. We're getting to the screams.
I mean, can we do it like you did fucking the Fast series? We'll do them all one after the other.
All one after the other.
I'll come down to Canberra. We'll stock the beer fridge.
Absolutely. Make it a drinking game. 100%.
Sorry, Noosk, I'm moving in.
All right, so you mentioned before. Okay, let's get to this. What didn't you like about this film then? Is there any of the performances? I thought all the performances were fairly strong. Or I think
there's
Jenna
no
Ortega
annoying
is
characters, which is she's one of them. I did really like the Chad.
Yep,
and I liked what's her name? His twin sister.
Yeah, I like her a lot too.
The new Randy Mark II, essentially. I liked her a lot, although her and Jenna Ortega do really well for people who've been stabbed through the stomach. I tell you what, we'll get to that. That's the one peeve I have. No, the cast I think were across the board really, really good. I liked the fact that they had, as is their wont, a couple of, I don't want to say name actors, but recognizable faces coming in sort of peripheral parts just to kind of throw some more suspicion into the mix. We had, what's his name from Arrow as hot guy across the way, who I think was really good. He was just prominent enough a character that made you suspect him, but not prominent enough that you kind of thought, oh, well, he'll be around next film. I think Hayden was horrendous miscasting, and I know it can't be because they're pulling a character from a previous film. But when you're trying to cast suspicion on someone as Ghostface, don't cast someone who's at most 5'2". It was completely.
She'd have to be wearing stilts.
You knew she wasn't one of them.
Yeah, which I think is okay.
Tiny, petite little thing.
I don't think you're ever supposed to really suspect her. Like, that only happens in the final scene.
I think they were really going for until the final reveal. I think they were really wanting you to be torn between her and Dermot Mulroney.
Yeah, right.
As to they had this Dermot Mulroney who you're set up to really be on board with. He's the new Dewey for the first half of the film. I had no suspicion of him, even though being a Scream film, you're supposed to suspect him. He was the one that I was sure was not going to be guilty.
Yeah.
Because I never saw the daughter being alive. I thought that was very well done. I didn't suspect that at all.
Yeah.
And as a number of friends online have pointed out, because it's completely unbelievable that her body could be swapped out and no cop would notice. However, you have a very clever scene where Dermot Mulroney gets colleagues and sort of says to them, almost in passing, just phone the Atlanta office and just check on this agent. Just, doesn't make a big thing of it. It's almost, done in passing. And that immediately made me on board with him and go, ooh, fuck, maybe Hayden's gone off the deep end. Yep. We haven't seen her for a couple of films. Who's to say what's happened since then? This is Scream after all. I think that was all set up really, really well. And you're meant to – you've got two big-name actors. You kind of know one of them's going to be bad. Yeah. It's Scream. One of them's always bad. And I was leaning towards Hayden before they went to the final kill room scene. And then I started to – once they got there, I started to sort of go, that was when my brain went – she's too small to be Ghostface. We've seen the fucking figure. She is literally the shortest actress working in major films. Yeah. She is a tiny, petite little fairy of a girl. And I think that was a misstep. I don't know how they could have got around it because obviously who else do you pull from the past films? Yeah. I'd rather it's her than fucking Gabrielle Union or whatever her name is, who's a terrible actress. But her stature kind of really worked against them.
Yeah. All right. All in all, how are you scoring Scream 6?
Oh. I'm a 3.5, a 7.
Yeah.
But I'm a high 7.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's not an 8. There's too many faults with and as with all Scream films, you can't write one of these films without having a few gaps in logic. Yeah. But I think it's the best one since the first one. Yeah. I think it's better than 5, and it's definitely better than 4, and 2 and 3 were substandard. So, I think it's great. I think anyone who's remotely interested in this franchise needs to go and see it. I think it's definitely worth seeing it, and I had nothing but fun with it. Yeah, and I'm looking forward to the next one.
I'm an 8. I loved this film. I did not have anywhere near as many issues with the leaps of logic as I've seen a lot of people have. Like you say, it's a Scream film. You're expecting them. I'm there for the fun of the ride.
If you're going into this expecting Aaron Sorkin, you're in the wrong film. And I think, and we didn't really touch on it, but there are some fucking ripper kills in this.
Oh, yeah. That
really made me go, oh, my God.
I think this is a fun ride. Like, if you're the kind of person who likes a slasher movie and has fun with kills, and I liked the characters. Honestly, that's the most you can ask for in a slasher movie, is to actually care about the characters on screen. That's the most you can ask from it, and I think this 100% delivered. So I can't wait for Scream 7.
I do. I mean, I do. And I know our friend Paul Brazoula's with me on this. I do have a pretty big problem with the characters shrugging off serious fucking injuries in this.
Yeah. Well, that's all right.
Not just, you've been stabbed in the... No.
Yeah, the knife has been twisted, it's been pulled up.
Two characters who are literally gutted.
Yes.
And... seconds later are fine. Jenna Ortega's climbing a fucking rope.
No, they're not fine. They're not fine. Her arm is in a sling.
Her arm is in a sling. Jenna Ortega is still climbing a fucking rope after being gutted. The Chad gets, I lost count, at least 15 stabs to the abdomen.
Yeah.
And is then wheeled out talking and being kissed on a gurney while his sister, who was gutted, runs up with her arm in a sling going, did I miss anything?
Yeah, she was actually my biggest.
That was irritating.
She was actually my biggest one, even though other people might have got stabbed more. Hers was Hers was very vicious. I was sure she was dead.
I mean, if I'd had the time, I would have gone back and rewatched 5 to refresh my memory. How are the twins Billy Loomis's kids when he died as a high schooler? Did he like shag some older woman? Did we find that out in number 5? We must have done.
Did, and now I can't remember who, but yes, he did. Now, I'll tell you what, because I'm going to rewatch them this week, so I'll come back to you next week. I need to rewatch
5. I don't want to criticize it for this, but I was watching this new one going, I can't remember how this high schooler is their dad.
Yeah.
Or her dad. Sorry, not Jenna Ortega's dad, just Sam's dad.
Yeah.
And 2, I don't remember how the fuck these African-American fraternal twins are any relation to Randy.
They're his sister's kids.
He's their uncle, but I mean, again, he died in college, so they never would have met him.
No, they didn't. They never met him. Yeah, and from memory, they talk about the 5th one.
They do refer to Uncle Randy a lot, which seems odd for someone they never met, but,
That's
whatever.
true. Yeah.
I'm nitpicking now.
Still, though.
Because I find it amusing.
Fucking great film. And so from a great film to probably the worst film I've seen since Moonfall, shall we talk about 65?
I need another beer if you're going to slag this off.
65 is a 2023 American science fiction action thriller film written and directed by Scott Beck and Brian Woods. It stars Adam Driver and Ariana Greenblatt. And what is it about, Dave?
It's a riveting and exciting science fiction extravaganza starring one of the greatest actors working today. And it involves a father who goes on an extended mission in order to raise enough money to save his very ill daughter. Mission goes astray. He ends up crash landing on a unnamed at that point distant planet. And the only other survivor is a young girl, and they need to find a way off said planet before extinction level events occur.
Okay. I think you're teasing me here, right? You're acting as if this is a good film. I need to know up front, did you like this movie?
I like this film fine.
Really?
I think this was a perfectly serviceable sci-fi.
Wow, this was the worst film I've seen in so long.
Why? You go first. You tell me why it's bad, and I'll tell you why you're wrong.
Here's the thing, all right? Adam Driver, great, as always. He's fantastic. Fuck me, this is poorly written. But apart from that, I can't believe that a movie with this premise, which is a good premise, it's a cool idea, a movie with this premise and this runtime, less than 90 minutes, how can it be this unentertaining? This is the dullest movie I've ever seen. It is so uninteresting. It's just so dull.
You're blowing my tiny mind, Billy.
I thought we were going to be lockstep.
It's Adam Driver versus dinosaurs. What is wrong with you?
I thought we were going to be...
If I sat down and tried to make a movie just for you...
I know.
This would be it.
That's what I mean. That's what I don't understand. A movie with this premise, with this man in it, and it's this bad. I don't even understand how it works.
For starters,
I thought for sure we were going to be
realistic. For starters, it's the first time we've had realistic presentation of dinosaurs on screen. None of these hyper-intelligent 8-foot-tall velociraptors, actual chicken-sized velociraptors like they should be. Oh, that was that.
But
at
there's
that point,
so few dinosaurs in it. Like, this movie is so short, and for the most part, nothing interesting is happening. Like, when they're stuck in the cave,
we spend most of our time bemoaning the fact that we have to sit through 2.5-hour films that should be 90 minutes. You get one that's 90 minutes, and you're whinging about it.
I got no problem with the length. The length would be fine if it was also entertaining. But I was
non-stop
bored.
Entertaining.
And look, you could say it was a
Did you not care about the characters? The moving story of the father and the daughter?
Not at all did I care about the
characters. My God.
I mean, I also think that it was quite
the moment when I
clumsily
realized
executed in terms of...
The writers of A Quiet Place, come on,
By the time it is, correct me if I'm wrong, it's revealed at a certain point here that his daughter is actually dead by the time he's on the planet, right?
Perfectly revealed. Yeah. You start to suspect as he's going, when she starts watching sequential
clips,
video diaries. Up until that point, you've assumed, they're just coming through and he's watching them. And you realise there's a library of these things. And I started to suspect and think, mate, because right at the outset, I thought he crashes, he realises he's alone,
and he goes to kill
literally
himself.
Then jumps on the mic, sends a message going, "There's no one alive, don't bother sending help," goes to blow his head off.
Yeah.
And I thought, oh, fuck, that's a bit quick.
Yeah.
And then it makes sense because he was only literally there to keep safe all of these passengers. As soon as he thought all of the cryo chambers were trashed,
yeah,
he thought, well, I don't give a shit about my own life because my daughter's gone.
Yeah.
And that all came crashing into realization when you realized that she was dead. I thought that was really, really well written.
Yeah, right. Wow. I mean, I think it's a good narrative. To me, this is the kind of thing that should have been like a short story. I think this would be a fantastic short story. I think it could be written really, really well. But I almost feel like the 90 minutes is actually too long for the story we have here. And I thought there were most of the film feels like, I don't know. All of the action feels like filler to me. Possibly it's just that in a short story, I think you'd have more time to mull over like his inner thoughts, for example. We really don't get any of that. We kind of just rush from action set piece to action set piece. And those big emotional beats, like, you were just saying, I don't think we're really given enough time to sit with and let mellow. I think that this movie doesn't quite know what it wants to be, and it spends too long trying to be a big action movie when I don't think it's pulling that off. Like, I expected this to be like dumb fun. I thought this was going to be like a Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson level film, and it's nowhere near that. It's not that at all. As you've said, it's a lot of its themes are quite deep. I would
phrase it as it's not that at all. I don't think I'd phrase it as it's nowhere near that. I think this is infinitely better than it would be if it had Dwayne Johnson in it.
But I don't think it's.
Because I think you've nailed it. I think it's a short story character piece about these two characters. These two.
But this movie, and the realization that she is.
He goes from literally having no reason to live and being, nothing but sorrow and heartache over the loss of his daughter, and he wasn't there for her.
Yeah.
To attaching himself to this surrogate daughter who has coincidentally lost her parents, and the two of them going from having no connection to trusting one another and having this sort of surrogate, you're filling a gap for me, to actually having a genuine connection that is not just filling a gap that's left by missing daughter/parents. I think that's kind of a short story, you're right, and I think it's delivered well, and it is punctuated by action set pieces that stretch it out to a feature length. But I think the action set pieces are also really good, and I didn't personally find it uncomfortable sort of going between those two. I thought that it stitched together quite well.
See, for me, I guess I didn't feel any between the two. Like when you lay out the plot like that, that's a really beautiful, touching story. But I don't think that we get any of that in this film. I feel like this film is just action set piece to action set piece, and I don't think it spends enough to any time on the characters or the actual story, really. Like, it's almost like you could leave all of that out when you tell someone the plot of this story, and you could literally just say, he's stuck on Earth, there's dinosaurs, he has to get off before the asteroid hits. Because that really is the story.
And weirdly, I think that's the unnecessary bit.
I agree. To me, that's the unnecessary bit, but that is what it is. Yeah.
it adds nothing, the fact that it's Earth, to be honest. You get the weird post-credits thing or over the credits where you advance through time. I don't need it. It adds nothing.
No.
It's just he could be from Earth, crash landing on another planet, and it would be exactly the same film.
Agreed.
It's a weird choice.
This is part of the problem. See, as you know, I don't watch trailers, but I did see the trailer for this at the cinemas last week. And it is, I mean, there's dinosaurs all over the place. You know it's Earth. I didn't actually even know that it was about a space traveler. I thought perhaps it was about
I assumed it was dinosaurs on another planet.
Yeah, right. Okay.
If we can accept the fact that humanity is humanity and traveling across the stars and is still humanity of now, I can accept the fact there's dinosaurs on another planet.
Because that's all revealed so early, it's not like it doesn't. You're right. It doesn't add. There's no level of surprise. It's not like you get that gut punch ending like you do with Planet of the Apes, for example, where you realize it was Earth the whole time.
No, it's polar opposite. That is one of the greatest reveals in cinematic history.
Yeah.
This zero. I mean, it's not even a reveal. It's at the start of the film. You get 65 million years ago.
Yeah.
On Earth. I was like, really?
Yeah,
okay.
it literally comes up at the front.
Who cares?
100%. I can't believe how different we are here. I thought for sure we'd be in the same place. I think one thing we can both agree on is that Adam Driver is
What did you
great.
think of the effects and the actual dinosaurs themselves? Because I know you're a dino fan.
Yeah, I didn't like them. Yeah. I did not like the visual look of the film, I guess. But again, I think the issue for me is I didn't actually like the action set pieces. I didn't think that they were entertaining to begin with. So no matter what look you gave me, it wasn't going to make it any better. I just thought it was a very dull time. And I think the look of the film kind of exemplifies that. It's a very dull-looking film, which I think... And what I mean by that, like, for example, the color tones. The very muted colors, very dark, very grey. And I think that works in what feels like a more serious film. Like, the look of this film is very similar to Arrival, for example. But I don't think that this film takes itself as seriously. That's what I mean. I think that it's kind of torn between these two worlds where it doesn't know what it wants to be, where it's almost like a Chris Pratt action blockbuster with the heart of Arrival, but it's kind of squashing its own heart, if that makes sense. It's like...
I do get that. It is first and foremost, to me anyway, it is that action film.
Yeah.
I just think any sort of action film like that, and I'm going to draw the obvious comparison with After Earth, attempts to make it more than it is. You know, it wants to be more than Riddick or Pitch Black by adding this central relationship between the two characters. I just think this was infinitely more successful than After Earth, which was hot trash. And I bought the relationship in this. I found it touching. I cared about both the characters. I thought the action scenes were exciting. There's a really cool central section in the middle where it basically becomes Descent. And they're underground being pursued by, almost unseen monsters, essentially, although they're dinosaurs. And I thought that was really well put together, and I liked what I assume was a nod to The Descent because it felt so similar in the way it was shot and put together. And I found this exciting the whole way through.
Right. So to answer
I got to the end and I thought, Billy's going to love this. It's fucking dinosaurs.
I thought I was going to. I took myself to a double feature. I was so excited. I saw this first and then Scream 6. And I was just shocked by how unentertained I was through a film that has such a strong premise. And I think we can both agree Adam Driver is fantastic. He's still giving it his all, as he does in every role. Like, he's just great.
And Ariana Greenblatt, I thought, who I've only seen a couple of times before, but I thought she was great. Given the fact that they are essentially dialogue free for the first half, well, for most of the film, really, because they speak different languages. So while they are speaking, they're not speaking to one another.
Yeah, that's true.
And
yeah.
we don't understand what she is saying because she is not speaking English.
True. Yeah, so you're
And
right.
I think
Effectively,
that-
dialogue free then. Yeah.
Yeah, and I think even harder than dialogue free. It's not like she's just miming stuff. She has to speak a nonsense language
Yeah.
and make it sound real, which I think she does really well, particularly for a young actress. And I think he does really well in it. I imagine it's very difficult to act a scene where both actors understand what the other is saying, but they have to act like they don't.
They do. Yeah.
And I think that's all done really well. And I think it's elements like that lift this above what a Chris Pratt / Dwayne Johnson actioner would be.
Yeah, right.
Just because they are acting well.
Yeah.
And I think those scenes are well written.
Yeah. To answer your question, yeah, I didn't like the overall look of the film, and I personally didn't love the look of the dinosaurs. And it's not anything against the visual effects. And this is going to sound ridiculously stupid because, like you said, these are much more accurate dinosaurs. It's the design. So I guess what I'm slagging off is God. Like, I just don't like the look of the dinosaurs.
You, Darwin.
I just don't like the look of the dinosaurs in this film. I just think they look.
Did you find that
stupid.
pterosaurs looked a little bit goofy with their big heads?
Yes, they're very rubbery. They're very rubbery necked. And I just thought that, wow, that's a stupid looking animal.
Because they did have big heads. I've seen fossils.
Yeah, and it's weird. And you're used to seeing dinosaurs walking, on like their hind legs. These are kind of crawling along like cats with their big long necks sticking out, and it just looked so silly. I just hated it.
Oh, so you should have seen the smile on my face. I was beaming from ear to ear when the raptors first turned up and they looked like chickens. I was like, yes! It's a perennial peeve of mine that the Jurassic Park movies have had these 5-6 times bigger than they should be raptors, but made them too dino-y, not bird-like enough. And then these little fucking stunted feathery turkeys came out nipping at things and being more like piranhas than sharks. I almost cheered in the cinema.
Well, I can't believe how different we are on this. And honestly, it's made me feel like maybe I have to rewatch it now that my expectations are a bit checked and now I know what this film is. Because maybe it was my expectations. Maybe I went in thinking, oh, yeah, I'm just going to have like some dumb fun. And it just didn't deliver.
I'm kind of thinking this is something I'd pick up on Blu-ray and watch from time to time as a kind of a good action-y thing that the kids can get on board with that's exciting, similar to a Jurassic Park or something. I really, really enjoyed my time with it.
So how are you scoring this out of 10?
I'm a 7. This is I had as much fun with this as I did with Scream 6.
Wow. All right. Oh, I definitely need to rewatch this then because at this stage I'm a 4.
Fuck off.
So, right, okay. I'll tell you what though. I promise you I will rewatch this because Noosk is keen. Like, what woman on earth doesn't love Adam Driver? She saw the trailer.
He sweats a lot in this. He's very sweaty.
She saw the trailer for this and was super keen. So I'll rewatch it with her and I'll come back to you and let you know if I liked it anymore.
I'm very interested to hear what she.
In fact, you know what? I'll get her on. We'll do a Patreon bonus. Like 65 take 2.
Billy's rewatch and reconsideration of score.
Yeah. All right. What are we getting to next week, mate? Yeah, so Shazam! Fury of the Gods is what comes out this week. Are you interested in that?
Oh, good. Yeah.
Yeah. All right.
I really liked the first Shazam. I thought it was the best of all the DC films.
Yeah, same.
I don't know how it's going to go this time round. It seems a little bit bigger and sillier, but maybe that's a good thing. And it's got a Dame in it and Lucy Liu.
All right, well, there you go. Shazam! Fury of the Gods. And then a big couple of weeks because, then after that we get...
it's fucking insane. It's so much.
Yeah, we get some Dungeons and Dragons. We get some... and we're not that far from Mario coming out as well.
Yeah, whatever.
You're not keen on Mario?
He doesn't have...
it's got Anna Taylor-Joy in it.
I know. I'm literally torn down the middle. If it didn't have Chris Pratt not doing an Italian accent... I'd be 100% on board.
I don't know if it's a real quote or not, but I've seen that meme around where it's
we're not supposed
him
to
talking
like
about Mario, and it says, no, Mario's
put on
not
accents.
Italian. He's normal
but
now.
Rocket Mario without the
laugh
Italian accent
every
is just not right. I need that. It's me, Mario. I don't care if it's culturally inappropriate. I need it.
All right. In the meantime, if you want to get in touch with us, you can do that at wewatchedathing.com or wewatchedathing@gmail.com. You can find us on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter, all under the handle at wewatchedathing. If you want to help support the show, you can do that at patreon.com/wewatchedathing, and we'll catch you next week.
Goodbye.